All right. So, um, some of you guys know my wife had to spend a month in Southern California to take care of a sick relative, and so I had the longest time I've basically had to do her job, and like my wife who quit working in 1997, and people were like, "Oh, so you're a housewife?" I'm saying, "No, I'm a domestic engineer." Like that was how she ended up. But what she used to say to me all the time was, my job is invisible unless it's not done well. My job is boring and it is hard. And I got a flavor of that while she was gone for a month because I had to do all the shit that she usually does that I don't do. And yes, I told her after about 3 weeks of this, your job is boring and it is fucking monotonous. And I found for a movie made in 1972 to take what I assume was a fairly novel way of showing a woman living her life and all the things that she does. And I understand that the guy is for me, the movie started to click at about the halfway point when things start to kind of unravel a little bit. And I'm like,
Yeah, yeah.
if I hadn't been watching her routine in this level of excruciating detail, I wouldn't notice how things sort of start to spin out. And that was like, okay, I think I'm starting to get where this movie is coming from. On top of the fact that, again, I mean, for 1972, I think it's a good thing to kind
75.
of get
75, I think.
75. Yeah.
right. I thought it was a good thing to kind of like get into. This is how a lot of people live their lives, and yes, it's fucking it can seem monotonous.
Yeah.
But at the point where the movie started to kind of get me, it's sort of lost me again. And by the time we get to that ending, which I still not totally sure I understand, like
No,
if the
you
goal,
understand it.
I don't know. I don't know. I can't say that I understand. I thought that okay, I see where you're going with this, and I'm on board now. It took 90 minutes for me to fucking get on board with that. But then I just kind of felt like it pissed it away because
The other
Zane's unfocused for a while, and then yes, you get to that. I don't know. The Schrodinger's scissors show up and like or whatever. The
Chekhov
point
scissors.
well, another alternative title for like spoiler alert if anyone has never seen this.
the fucking scissors and like
Yeah,
oh,
really. If there
Another
was a
title,
spoiler
another
alert.
alternate title for this might have been like the awakening of the praying mantis.
More or less.
I guess.
Now, mind you, I started watching. First of all,
Mantis.
I saw the offering that Jim gave, and I was like pissed. Like this is 3 hours and 20 minutes. I just sat down and watched it, and it was hypnotic after a while. It was like
45.
I was like into the rhythms of this film.
3 hours and 22 minutes.
3 hours and 20 minutes. I was by the
21.
halfway point. I did
21.
actually was kind of tuned in. I actually kind of appreciated how this film was displaying time, and it was deliberate. It was realistic. It was fucking sincere.
Oh shit! When she went outside, you were like, "Holy shit! It's party time!"
Oh no! Well, yeah, this film is sincere. It's absolutely sincere. It's not hiding anything, and you see every aspect of our normal lives.
That's one of my first notes.
We get up and make breakfast. We get up and we like make our beds, and we get up and we do things every day. This just shows it. That's
rat
all.
boy who's completely unappreciative.
Oh,
fuck that guy.
Well, I wasn't.
Have your fruit, you little shit.
I was actually saying good things about the film, but the thing is, the details of this film are horrible. She has to be a whore, and and Rat Boy. I'm not calling him anything else, but Rat Boy is a horrible human being who has one bit of dialogue, and it's the most hurtful thing he could possibly say to any other human being.
And
like, I kept you from fucking your husband because I resented the fact that he had a penis. It's like, what the fuck are you talking about?
He has several.
Well, Scott, it is like a sword.
Dialogue.
Yeah, he was an awful
Have that
human being.
motherfucker in the face.
I know.
One of my
Fucking
notes
rat
was,
boy.
despite the ending, because we didn't know where. I mean, that was kind of out of
I had
a little
no
bit of
idea.
nowhere. but I was like, halfway through, I was like, okay, if this is a study of the mundane of sorts, or her life,
a slow cinema.
Well, I was like, where are the extended long wide shots of a melancholy hand job? Like, what's going on? Like, show me what's happening behind the door. Like, I want to know.
Oh, there's a reason you don't see it until the end.
There's a reason. Well, I don't know if there's a reason.
And
I still think they could have done it.
Well, it's a
you
good
still
choice.
don't actually see it at the end.
I think it's a good choice.
But
because once you're in the bedroom at the end, you know this is something you've never seen before, and you've waited 3 hours and 10 minutes.
Also, Ozu vibes with this.
Yeah,
with
well
this
said.
Or Wes Anderson again on the
Wes Anderson does not have this kind of patience, man. Ozu is as good.
I'm just talking in terms of composition.
I'm talking both composition and pace. Ozu vibes for sure. Yeah. Attention to detail, obviously, but then spoiler alert, people, it becomes an action film at the very end.
Yeah, the last couple seconds.
That's not what those words mean.
No,
I know. I'm joking. I'm joking. But I was like, you could play this with Atomic Blonde, like back to back. It might be.
You're taking Chris's joke. You're taking Chris's joke.
But you're not.
When it
back to like at the beginning.
Oh, maybe I missed it. The chat.
Yeah, Jim.
At the beginning of the third day, she gets up and she doesn't button one of her buttons on her.
Oh yeah,
it's important. Like, hey, lady, you missed a button.
That's the thing. We're so clued into her routine. So
her routine, it starts unraveling.
You don't. And then there's a couple of times she walks into a room and doesn't remember what she was going to do and walks back out.
Right.
The potato thing. She already has the potatoes.
Yeah. Well, the whole action sequence of the search for the search for the button was a very exciting sequence.
Oh, it's the milk that's bad, but now she drinks the milk and it's okay. So she pours the coffee and puts milk in it.
Instead of using shortcuts, you actually watch the entire process. She doesn't like the coffee. She tries to. You saw her go through the whole thing to find out that there's something else wrong. There's something else wrong that is not the coffee or the cream or the sugar. That's fascinating.
I thought that was actually fascinating.
Yeah.
So let me know when you guys want to speculate or discuss what we think happened at the very end.
Like Scott, you and I think both kind of clicked in at the same point, and I'm going, could this point have gotten across in, I don't know, a quarter of the time?
Yes.
Maybe. Yes. Well, yeah, but we're used to Western styles of filmking.
Yeah.
In terms
this
of that
film
kind of
wouldn't be the film that it is.
There's a scene where she makes a pot roast or whatever the fuck.
Right, it wouldn't.
No.
Nobody would remember.
I timed this. When she was making the meatloaf at the end of the film, when she was kneading it, 4 minutes and 34 seconds.
All right, felt like 9 minutes.
Listen, that's going to be so tough.
The final scene where she's sitting there, kind of like with the mysterious blue light going on her. 5 minutes and 24 seconds.
5 minutes of her sitting there at the end.
At the end, yeah.
Yeah,
well, it's like those scenes, John, in the movie.
Literal blood on her hands.
The horror, where she sits there and listens to an entire record.
I was going to bring that up, Jim.
Yeah.
I really think that kind of thing, that was like in Bigby's class that I saw that. It was like a revelation to me to see that in 1-to-1 real time. It's like, we're just going to sit down and actually listen to this fucking record. And the actors aren't going to do anything but sit there and listen to the record. And it kind of blew my mind. And probably set me up to enjoy this, because this is the second time I've watched this film. I watched it of my own volition.
Did Bigby show it to you? Oh, you're
no. I just had read about it, and I said I want to check this out.
It's an important film.
Sheila and I watched it. It's Sight and Sound's #1 of the 100 greatest films of all
in
time.
2012.
In their latest 2012. They only do it every. Oh, then they probably did it again. They do it every 10 years. Anyway. Yes, it was #1.
Oh, Jim, I have a question about feminism. This is a second wave feminist film, right? Not first wave, second wave?
I would call it.
Yeah,
it's absolutely not first wave.
This feels like second wave feminism. This is like, you kill the guy at the end because, you're making a point about something.
I mean, definitely, feminists embrace.
It's also anti-sex work.
Yeah, very much. But
it's also, in terms of like form, it's pretty amazing that it's so resolutely what it is. To me, it's kind of amazing that she did this. And I do wonder, I haven't seen the extra features, but I do wonder how long it took to shoot.
5 weeks.
What the actress thought of it.
I wonder if it could have been like 2 hours though, and had the same effect.
They shot a lot of the.
Could have been an hour and 53 minutes.
Scenes, Jim, in a studio, and they threw it all out because she wanted to go back and just shoot, because they had trouble shooting in the kitchen because it was.
I was wondering about that, Jim, because you'll notice. When they shoot from across the table towards the stove, there's a wall right there. It's like, how did they even get the camera far?
But it's also kind of that's like one of the coolest shots, actually. I think
it is actually
that shot. Also,
I love that shot.
they obviously have to pull that chair out for that, because that's one big continuity error you see, is sometimes there's 2 chairs in the kitchen and sometimes there's
just one.
I
saw one continuity error with that thermos with the
coffee
tea in it.
Thermos.
It went down. We saw it too, because
this movie is very
film is so slow. It's like,
so slow. You pick up on this shit. Exactly. Yes. Yeah. I really enjoyed watching it again, because without the impatience, knowing what I was in for, Sheila and I thoroughly enjoyed rewatching this movie.
Cool. Oh yeah, I'm glad.
Yeah,
I would hate it because it's so long, but I actually ended up loving it. So I think it's just a neat statement.
I don't think it would be what it is if we cut it to 2 hours or 1 hour 45.
Although people are we should let Soderbergh get his hands in this thing. You know that, right?
Well, again, I mean, like
Soderbergh can remake it.
If the whole point is to watch,
recut it.
If the whole point is you've been following her routine, so that when things start to unravel, it's like, oh my god, she missed a button.
I did everything.
Drama out of the most minute fucking.
And that button becomes.
That's the great thing about slow cinema, is that you actually see this stuff. It actually happens in real time, basically.
Yeah.
And when you see that flashing blue light, you know that it's getting towards the end of the day.
Oh, I have a theory about the blue light.
By the way,
blue light.
What's your theory?
Well, it's just going to be like
to say about the blue light.
It's God.
It's God.
Looking
well, I don't know if it's God, but it
actually it's just a fucking business across the fucking
God.
street.
It flashes 4 times slowly.
Everybody in the house every night. But
it might be God, yeah.
It flashes 4 times slowly, and then it flashes 4 times
it's
really fast.
It's actually instead of the red light district, it's the blue light district at her house.
Oh. Also, one thing about this film is that everyone here have been to Brussels.
Yes,
it's the most boring. It's the most boring fucking town in Europe. It's like the Indianapolis of Europe.
Wait, come on! They have a giant Brussels sprout. I'm not kidding.
But it's dull. It's like
they also have the atom thing.
It's gray. It's dull. There's nothing going on. Everyone there is pissed off because they deal with 3 languages all the time. I was like staying in a pension downtown, and everyone was like angry at me all the time.
We got ripped off at the Belgian border because all we had was French francs, and they're like, we only take.
See, that's what I'm talking about, right? They're pissed off people.
It's all euros now.
And we ended up paying $80 to get across.
Okay. Okay, real quick though, at the very end of this movie, so I read something about it, and I was like, oh, okay. And then, putting that with what I'm watching, what I read was that, because at first I was like, okay, wait, is she being raped, or is that obviously it's a client, but things can change when you're in the room.
Sure.
But also, what I read was that it might have been her first orgasm ever. And so
interesting.
Then she had to
from sex.
And that's why I was called the praying mantis, because maybe she had to fucking kill that motherfucker because she was like, I can't deal with it. I don't know. But also maybe that was rape, and if it was, that was the most docile rape I've ever seen in my life.
Oh, but that guy dude had some energy issues, man. He needed to take some like boost or something like that, because he's just laying there. It's sad.
Well, I thought he had died.
I thought he died. He was laying there for so long.
He was having a heart attack or something like that.
He had a heart attack.
But I couldn't. Okay, but I think regardless, we know that she had an orgasm. We saw that.
Yeah, we did. She did.
But we didn't know. But what I think is debatable though is whether she was trying to push him off, or it was just that it was so pleasurable for the first time ever that was her natural reaction.
She also grabs him with one hand,
but she's also, the other hand is kind of like pushing. It's pushing.
Really I did not get orgasm.
And when
out
she,
of that at
well,
all.
when she orgasms, it's clear because she. Why? It's clear because she puts the blanket in her face.
Yeah.
That's her coming.
Wait, no, it's not. To me, she was having a very bad experience, and she covered her face because she couldn't face the reality of what was happening to her.
Okay, so this is the question. This is the debate. This is the debate.
I felt she was having a terrible experience, and she had reached her limit. It was like she does this voluntarily. She does it for a living.
Or was she coming the hardest she's ever come ever, and couldn't fucking deal with it?
Or maybe she hated it. He hated his mustache. Maybe think about that. Oh my God, that mustache! Jesus Christ!
I forget who says it, but in one of the interviews I watch, it may have been with the cinematographer. She says that she actually comes the first time in the scene you don't see, the second client.
Oh, that's right.
During the second day, because she burns the potato.
That's what changes her mind.
And that's
or being orgasmic, being fully functional as a woman.
Yeah.
She actually
and so
kind of
is that somehow an awakening that leads her to?
And it's also what throws her off her.
An awakening.
An awakening.
I think Tad just said that, didn't you?
That's actually
sexual awakening.
If you read that, if you came up with it, that's fucking brilliant. I think that you're absolutely right.
You think
because the second one we don't see, she comes out different. You're absolutely right.
Something changes in that moment.
Well, good stuff.
The second client,
Okay.
So then maybe John, you are right. She just didn't
reach her limit.
But here's the question about that end scene though, because that is a client.
I mean,
that is a John. So what was it about him? He definitely wasn't being forceful. I mean, he was like a dead fish. So what's happening?
Maybe that's why she was pissed, because he was like a dead fish.
To me, it was just disgusting.
No, I actually call bullshit on you, because I think that there's no way. Listen, we have to talk about. She killed this man. She struck him in the neck with fucking scissors. So if she's not, why? This is the question. Why?
That's the question she's asking when she's sitting at the table.
3 hours.
You don't get any answers.
No, that's the question
questions.
that she's asking when she's sitting at the table.
Sure.
God damn it! Like,
true.
There is no answer for that.
Although she realized she's
but
because
I
she's
think
going
there's
to jail.
An argument. I think there's an argument
for. I think it's the weight of her entire life, Jared. I think that's why we sat there with her for 3 hours and 10 minutes before this happened, to see the life she was living that led her to say, you know what? I'm going to stab this guy in the neck with those scissors that I left on the dresser. And it was just...
Maybe it was a moment
of
liberation.
So maybe you could double feature with this with Monster. I don't know.
This is a second feminist argument. Maybe this is a liberation moment. Maybe she actually stabbed the guy to get free of the cycle of oppression. Maybe she realizes she's going to go to jail, but she's going to be free of her life, the grind, and rat boy.
I don't think she. I think she.
Her 35-year-old son.
Yeah, her 35-year-old son. Yeah.
I think that she's like 29 Listen, I don't know what it means. I don't know what it means with her psychology.
I'm 41 years old, and he looks older than me.
Because he's rat boy. Because he's rat boy. Listen, I don't know. Listen,
I'm willing to entertain Scott's version of this. I'm willing to entertain John's version of this. I'm willing to entertain part of Jared. Like, maybe the beauty of this movie is I think that
he
froze up,
Look
brother.
at him.
We can hear you.
I love it. Hold on.
Now we can.
Well, I think and you're just holding really still.
Back, Chris.
Listen, I want to believe that. And it still doesn't explain it.
I want to believe this is a better movie, but that doesn't make it.
Listen,
good.
It still doesn't explain it. But I want to believe that. I want to believe that with that last client, something happened. I think it was an orgasm, really super intense, and I think it's just that, like, she was like, that was, I just have to fucking kill you now. I don't know what, that's it.
I don't connect A to B, Jared.
Yeah,
it's like
actually,
she lives such a dull life.
I have to say, that interpretation I think is valid. I don't think it's the right one for the movie.
Yeah,
but I think that is a valid interpretation.
Me too.
Of it.
It's sort of like in Once Upon a Time in Mexico when Johnny Depp says,
We're not talking about Once Upon a Time in Mexico.
This Puerco Pibil is so good that I'm going to walk through the kitchen and I'm going to shoot the fucking chef in the fucking head. And he does.
Tad, I'm with you. That film needs to be burned. But that's
a funny analogy.
Okay, whatever. One thing about this film is I thought was kind of cool was that this had an all-women crew.
Mm-hmm.
It's like it was made in 5 weeks, an all-women crew. Although Chantal Akerman kind of complained about it because
it's too bad. It's too bad that their editor didn't know how to edit a movie.
The only problem was there were no focus pullers that she got.
You don't need it. Everything's in focus. It's all shot at like fucking F-16, dude. Everything's in focus.
No, it wasn't, man. It's like in a hallway. I think that the elevator is always blurry.
No, they don't care.
Oh, there's a lot of stuff in the street they would focus close, and no one actually would turn that knob to refocus anything. It happened over and over. It's getting me really annoyed.
Well, you have to pick something in that hallway to be in focus, right?
Yeah, the foreground.
And it's the door.
It's the
the lighting.
The elevator is out of focus every fucking time.
It's the door. The door is always in focus, and she dips around the door every time she walks in.
Oh my god, it was nuts.
Except for the end.
The thing that she said about this movie was that after she made it, everybody expected her to have movies that looked like this. So she was tired of, she wanted to move the camera when she could. And it's like, no.
I don't blame her, man.
You got to have it locked down.
Oh, that's, yeah.
I have a question.
Fire away.
Where is she and her son going every night when they leave the house?
Good question.
I think they were going for a walk.
But no, they're not just going for a walk, because he's like, oh, we had dinner late tonight. Can we not go? And she's like, no, we're going. And they just go and they walk along the street.
And they go into
that's a really interesting choice as a narrative, in terms of narrative, because this movie shows everything.
Right, it shows everything, but not that.
But not that, and not melancholy hand jobs either.
And not what happens.
It was weird, man. Oh, you're absolutely right. That was very off-putting.
Yeah.
Is it like a grief thing because she's a widow and her dad's dead?
I would love it if they showed up at his grave and like did something, but
it's not.
Didn't.
It's never too late to go to a grave. What if it's like a bereavement meeting or like a grief meeting?
I'm saying I would love it if they did that, but they don't. What you see is them walking down the street, and like the cab shows up and then drives out of frame a couple of times, but they're still walking down the street, and then all of a sudden they're back in their front hallway, going.
Dude, anytime this movie went outside of the house, I was like, this is an action film.
They could have been just going out and reading the paper. They could have been doing heroin somewhere.
Yeah, but what are they doing?
They have no idea what they're doing. No idea. It's really, you're right, Jerry.
You're right. Wrapped in a riddle.
That's right. That's a very strange, for a film
I think the son was
that reveals everything. Right. That did not reveal this thing, and that's very strange.
And she was watching. They were going out to the steps, and she was watching her son pull a slice of pizza up the fucking stairs.
No, her 35-year-old son. Her 35. He's talking about the rat dragging the pizza.
He's taking a rat pizza
Come on,
reference.
Keep up with me now.
All right, sorry. The rat boy.
Yes, Jim.
Thank you.
They literally.
Yes, Jim.
I have to disagree with you, because at first I thought, yes, they are showing everything. But then as the second day, she starts cutting out some things.
Yeah, they start shortening things up.
She does, like the breaded veal cutlet and the meatloaf.
Just trying to get it under 4 hours.
Yeah. They started actually editing. Right?
Yeah, it is slightly truncated compared to the first day.
I think one of the most bullshit things about this movie is people are like, oh, it happens in real time. If it happened in real time, it would be bare minimum 48 hours long.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah, but it's 3 days, right? So it should be
because it would be from noon to noon, like minimum of 48 hours long. Yeah. Like it could not be.
It's literally a film that Ethan Hawke's character is describing in Before Sunset, dude.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
This is the argument I was making.
And you know what? She's like, no, don't do that. That's a stupid idea.
Yeah, like, she's like, who would watch that? He's like, I don't know, but I just think that would be real.
If I recommend this film to anyone, if I say I was a professor in a film school, I'd say, well, whenever time she goes to bed, stop watching it, go to bed yourself. Then wake up and watch the second part, then go to bed again. Because it would be more realistic that way, I think.
Well, I mean, it doesn't work that way. It's 3 hours over 3 days.
Yeah. Like, it could be 1 hour that you experience over 3 days.
Well, you can't go to bed when she goes to bed because you would only be awake for an hour. Then you go to bed.
I give up. I tried. Okay, fine.
They tried, and they keep bringing this up through the course of all of the press around this movie, and it's like, no. Okay, it's not what's actually happening.
All right, at this point, we're all just flying off in the outer space.
I cannot dunk on this movie as much as I'd like to because it's a fucking endurance test. But
hold on. I want to say one thing.
Go ahead.
Actually, one thing about this movie is that the actress who plays the mother is 42 years old when this movie is made, and she is absolutely gorgeous.
Oh yeah.
And like in America, in movies that we make in this country today, if you're 42 years old, you have to be a grandmother or you're slammed in the closet.
Or Jennifer Aniston.
Plus, but still, you have to be a grandmother or slammed in the closet.
If you don't think the highlight for me was when she was taking a bath, I've never seen a woman wash her breasts before. I was like, this is fucking rad.
Yeah, this is interesting.
I've seen women wash their breasts before, but in person. But
you make me sick when you speak, Jared.
But what I'm saying,
I've seen it in person, but not in cinema.
What I'm saying is, I really appreciate the fact that this movie sees this woman as being a self-actualized sexual being at the age of 42.
That's good feminism, man. That's fantastic.
Yeah. Yes, I have big problems with second wave feminism because of the erasure of
the anti-sexuality thing. Yes,
right. The erasure of minorities, the erasure of queer people.
But they were doing something though.
But like this movie allows this woman to be sexually appealing to the audience at that age, and I think that's fucking great.
That was like the one thing we all liked about The Cooler. Maria Bello.
Maria Bello, yeah, exactly.
Right.
You know what this film?
I don't like this movie. I think it's dumb and bad and long and weird, and like it could be way better if it was cut down to like an hour and 40 minutes,
maybe, or like an explosion or two. Or
no. I don't need that.
No, I hear what Tad's saying. It's the same movie, but just like condense it.
You know this film also. This film reminded me of my mother-in-law, Eileen's mother, who was of this same generation, like grew up in Second World War. She wanted to be volunteer and she wasn't allowed by her parents, but they're very fastidious. She was always folding up like pieces of foil, putting it in a drawer, cleaning and cleaning and cleaning, and folding and folding and folding.
That's the depression.
That generation, that silent generation thing is all over this film.
That's the depression.
I think we need more of that.
I think
I wanted to say one thing about the actress. Did anyone recognize her? She was actually in a Scots pick.
Yeah.
Oh, which one?
The Charm of the Bourgeoisie.
Oh my God!
Wait, that was my pick.
Which is made around the same time.
Yeah,
it was a Chris pick.
That was my pick.
So I want to come back for 1 second and be like, I actually think this story is really interesting. Like, I think the story that they tell about this woman and about her idiot son and
Rat Boy.
No, it's not Rat Boy. It's 45-year-old son.
45-year-old student.
I think that I think that story is actually super interesting. I wish it wasn't this long. I think the big problem with it is that the editor didn't know when to tell the director, we have to cut this. We have to reduce this. Like we have to like there, you can have some of these scenes. You can have the scene, especially the scene of her sitting at the table and like pouring the coffee and just sitting there and then like making the butter sandwich and eating it. And then the woman
which is about 7 minutes long.
And then the woman shows up and drops off her kid.
Right.
And the woman is like, oh, I've been thinking about eating butter sandwiches instead of feeding my family, kind of thing. Like you can do all of that in a movie that is not 3 hours and 21 minutes long.
I'm not going to argue that, but I think
every scene that like the making the meatloaf thing, if that's 4.5 minutes now,
you
just cut
34.
It
now, you don't have to cut it in half. What you can do is you can cut the things between it.
The film is what it is. I think
between it.
The film is what it is, and I think it would be different if you did cut it down.
I don't know that
would it be?
Well, yes, John, it would be better and more interesting, actually.
All right, hold on. We're going to stop right now and give Jim his corner. Then we're going to finish this up.
I with you, Dad.
I want to bring up something else.
Why does Jim get a corner? It's his pick.
I know his answer is
he
still gets a fucking corner. That's
no. His answer is
that was in the movie.
I have something too.
That's in the contract. It's like we have to talk about Jim's exactly.
Continue.
No, what the hell?
We have to keep
I want to hear Jim's corner. I want to hear it.
I want to hear it. I have something too.
I had read about this and heard about it for years, and this is the first time I saw it, and I was.
Are you fucking kidding me?
No.
You've never seen this?
No.
Oh, I figured. Yeah. I figured you knew of this.
You know what? You are not the greatest troll of all time. You are not.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Take it, Jim.
Go, Jim.
I was annoyed for like the first 20 minutes, and then I started getting into it, and I didn't find it too long at all. I found it to be of the right length, I guess. And most everybody who's had some positive things to say about it, I agree with. And
what do you think the ending means, Jim?
She snapped and she killed him. I've never been one to. It's interesting.
I don't know what it means. She killed him because she was done with that life.
There's no psychological motivation to anything. There are no explanations for anything. Tad has invented a whole story about
the whole nihilism thing,
son. You know, and Jared has stories
you want to run
like,
that back? What did I do?
Yeah, orgasmic.
His orgasm. That's a fair theory.
That's interesting, Jim. People are bringing things to this.
What did I do?
Which you do in all movies.
Yes.
It's just more obvious.
What if
because there's so little there?
What if her whole time at the table at the end is post-nut clarity?
Post-nut clarity.
All right.
Post-coital tristesse.
That was
Scott.
You are literally the creepy guy.
All right. Yeah. You brought up. Jared, you proved that several times tonight. I think how creepy you are. So okay, let's go.
Scott, you have I got something.
Take it, Johnny.
I'm going to keep going. You brought up a phrase that didn't exist when Chantal Akerman was making this film, but I think this is probably one of the pillars of slow cinema. That's a phrase now. Yeah. And I think that's something I've been interested in. Jim sort of brought it up just now, which is that we're all spinning theories about what it means because the film doesn't spell it out. And I think that's one of the most interesting things about the whole slow cinema movement is that you experience these films sort of on their own terms, and it's kind of like a train ride where you could either be bored or you could look out the window at things and just enjoy it. And that's kind of where I am with this film and this kind of film making. Whereas like I wrote a review of this, I was sort of writing about films like this in 2017, and I said this is like I was antagonistic towards it. I was tempted to turn it off, and I was wondering if the filmmaker made it as like a dare for people to call bullshit. And it's like now I don't feel that way anymore.
No, ironically, she made it as a scam.
How is it a scam?
Oh, she submitted an actual script to the Belgian Film Society or whatever, and they gave her $120,000 for the script that she submitted. She threw that script in the trash and just made a new one.
And made this.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a little scammy.
I'm not saying again.
She didn't make it.
Hold on.
That is a scam. She didn't make this as a scam.
Let me fucking talk for a second. That's a scam, but it's a very, very funny scam, and I appreciate it. Like I'm not mad. I'm not bad about this being the scam that she pulled, but it was a scam. Like, and that's actually very funny.
One thing
I think any of us might do that.
Yeah, it's true.
Like, Scott, if I may, to get back to the slow cinema thing, it's like every time you cut in a film, that's a stimulus to your brain.
True.
Consistently explaining everything in a movie with dialogue. I'm talking about American movies now, Jared. Consistently explaining every plot turn by having the characters talk to each other constantly is stimulating your brain. This is doing this is taking away information. It's like how much you leave out is how much you have to bring. The audience has to bring to.
Why did you single me out? I love slow cinema.
I'm agreeing with you, Jared.
One of the things about this film is that I was prepared for it, but I'm a big fan of real cinema, like whole cinema, like Baraka and Quai.
Right.
These films are not linear. They're actually, you have to experience them to understand them. And this is kind of like that. So nobody
could tell me what Baraka's about.
It doesn't have, it's a about our spiritual guy. It's
about humanity and the world and like how you interact with.
Yes, exactly.
I think these are bad explanations because that's not a film you can explain in words.
That you can have a lot.
Right. Well, it's a film without a narrative.
I just explained it.
Jeanne Dielman actually has a narrative.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very
I remember when I first saw
it's gonna be a long fucking episode.
one of the first sort of like slow cinema movies I saw was called Old Joy, and it was Kelly Reichardt's first real.
There you go.
And I was so fascinated by that picture, and I bought it, on DVD because I just thought it was the most beautiful thing I'd ever seen at that time. And Kelly, of course, went on to still be a fantastic filmmaker. But I think it's a style.
Like, if we want to go down this rabbit hole, we should pick like Old Joy and have you ever seen Putty Hill?
No.
Oh no. Okay.
Oh man. Yeah,
I'm not saying you should because of the time thing, but yes.
But Old Joy is a beautiful film.
Yeah. I'm actually gonna pull it right now. Come on, it's time for thumbs.
I can't. I mean, there's something going on here.
I'm like here.
I think it's interesting.
There's something going on. I like it.
It won me over, man. The long length, it won me over. I was in a different place. Well done.